Arthur was a great TV series. Yeah, I know, it ended 3 years ago, but at least we can still rewatch our favorite Arthur episodes, and now I make videos talking about these Arthur episodes. It's fun to look at episodes from different seasons of the show, because it's cool to see how the show evolved. We all know the obvious, the animation changed throughout his years of Arthur as well as the voice actors. Sorry Buster, but you're stuck with the same voice actor the whole series. But I feel that even the characters changed too. At the beginning of the series, Francine was one of the biggest jerks in school, and DW was the biggest brat in the world. But by season 15, these characters had changed their ways significantly. As you all know, I make Arthur episode reviews, and I don't necessarily go in a certain order, I just jump around throughout the series. But today I decided to review the very first Arthur episode aired on television, and that is Arthur's Eyes. I've already watched this episode countless times, and I want to take some time to talk about this episode. But first, make sure to put a like on this video and comment down below on what you want to see from me in the future. And make sure to subscribe as well. If I can reach 2,500 subscribers by May 1st, then I'll start to come out with some reviews on episodes of the Backyardigans. But anyways, no more messing around, let's just get straight to the video. The episode starts out with DW waking up Arthur in the middle of the night by shining a flashlight right in his face. No wonder Arthur can't see. DW tells Arthur to come downstairs with her to talk about their lost brother. But if the so-called lost brother had ever spent a day with DW, I'm sure he's not lost. He just doesn't want to be found. DW shows Arthur a photo album, and the pictures are of Arthur when he was younger and didn't have glasses yet. However, DW thinks it must be someone else.
I wonder where he went. Mom and Dad sold him or something.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were to sell you, DW. Arthur tells DW that the pictures are of him before he got glasses. DW thinks Arthur was born with glasses, but Arthur calls bull.
You were only 2 years old then, so you probably don't remember.
Okay, to be fair to DW, she was only 2 when Arthur got glasses. So DW basically grew up knowing that Arthur wears glasses. Arthur begins to tell DW the story of how he got glasses, but what's weird is that throughout the whole flashback, we never once hear a voiceover. But anyways, after the title card, Arthur and his friends are in Mr. Marco's class and are about to take a math quiz. Arthur doesn't have his glasses yet, but he does have the elderly elementary school sweater. Seriously, Arthur said before that Grandma Thora made him that sweater. Arthur has trouble reading the numbers on the board, and Francine is no help at all. But maybe Arthur would see the board more clearly if he wasn't aggressively squinting. The students get their quizzes back and Arthur has failed. Francine tries to make fun of Arthur, only to get roasted by Buster.
I have a headache.
Yeah, sometimes Francine gives me a headache too.
I mean, he's not wrong. In the world of Arthur, stuff like aspirin and ibuprofen should really be called Francine medication. Then later on in basketball, Arthur struggles to keep up with the ball due to his bad eyesight. And I can already see several things wrong with this scene, which I'll get into later. But at least the kids in gym class are nice, right? Let's be real here. This is probably the one and only time Francine will ever say thanks in her life. Arthur even messes up a free throw, but he probably wouldn't have messed it up that badly if he had actually opened his eyes. Then Arthur and his friends have to take an eye exam, which is simply them reading the letters E, G, B, and D. But we should add an F to that, because every good boy does fine, except for Arthur, on his eye exam. Arthur manages to fail the easiest exam in the world and now has to go to the eye doctor. The eye doctor finds out that Arthur needs glasses because he's clearly gone blind from having to look at his baby sister's ugly face. Arthur tries on different specs and eventually settles on this round circular pair. I would have gone for the aviator glasses, or maybe those futuristic glasses. I love going to school in those bad boys. Arthur can now see clearly again, but when he goes back to school, he immediately gets teased.
You look weird.
You don't look much better, Francine.
You get a new haircut?
Arthur doesn't even have hair. Also, I'm surprised Arthur is this quick to snap at Binky. I mean, just a minute ago, Arthur was proud of his new glasses. Arthur gets to class, and Francine starts calling Arthur a Four Eyes.
Arthur's a 4 eyes. Arthur's in trouble.
Francine, you sure do like to sing. Maybe instead of mocking Arthur, you should try out for the school play instead. Oh wait. Buster defends Arthur, but then starts making fun of Arthur at lunch. Arthur storms out of the cafeteria and then walks home wearing a blue trench coat, because I guess he's technically skipping school? Arthur walks home and ends up scaring baby DW.
Huh?
DW's cry sounds just like baby Kate's cry. Did DW swallow baby Kate? Arthur decides he'd rather lose his glasses than be called Four Eyes. He tries to get rid of them by slingshotting them, but get this. The glasses case bounces out the telephone wire and goes into Arthur's room on his bed right next to his bear Stanley. Talk about a chain reaction. Also, even though I've never needed glasses in my life, I'm sure being called Four Eyes is embarrassing. But But what's more embarrassing is that Arthur still sleeps with a stuffed animal. Don't worry, I'll get to that later. Arthur is shocked to see his glasses on his bed, so he takes them and throws them out his window. Man, the Reed parents really need to bolt down that window. It's gonna cause problems later down the road. Arthur encounters his glasses again in the kitchen, so this time he has DW smash his glasses with a toy hammer. DW sure is a large 2-year-old. Arthur's mom almost catches Arthur before DW can smash the glasses, and DW gets to smash Arthur's hand with her toy hammer. Thank goodness it's not a real hammer. The next day, Arthur takes off his glasses before he enters school and attempts to make it through the day without them. However, this backfires when Arthur accidentally goes into the girls' restroom, scaring the living daylights out of Muffy and Francine.
This is the girls' room.
Why do you care, you two-faced twosome? You literally did the exact same thing in season 5. Arthur tries to get out of the restroom, but unfortunately for Arthur, more girls come in. This creates a huge ruckus, but Arthur is finally able to get out of there. Arthur leaves the restroom only to find the whole school staring at him. Wait, why is DW here? That night, Arthur watches Bionic Bunny and finds out that the superhero Wilbur Rabbit is getting glasses, and they're just like Arthur's. Arthur is now confident, and he goes back to wearing his glasses. Francine tries to make fun of Arthur again, but Arthur is now immune to Francine's jokes. Arthur then beats Francine in a game of basketball and aces his quiz like a pro. Francine then shows off her new glasses. However, they're movie star glasses, and they don't even have glass in them. Way to steal Arthur's thunder, Francine! Arthur ends the flashback by saying that since then he's always worn glasses. DW's mystery is now solved, but she's disappointed that there wasn't a lost brother. DW then finds a picture in the album of Mr. and Mrs. Reed, and Mr. Reed has a beard. DW thinks it's a secret divorce, and she goes to wake up their parents to demand an explanation. Okay, now the episode is officially over, but I want to talk about it a little bit. I thought it was a good episode, but the best part is that this episode is kinda like Arthur's origin story. It showed us how Arthur got glasses and about how he faced the bullying that came with it. However, Francine really was a jerk in this episode, and unfortunately she will continue to be that way for a while. Binky was also kinda awkward in this episode. Him not noticing what was different about Arthur just reinforces his lack of street smarts. Buster, however, was a pretty good character in the episode. He was there for Arthur most of the time, however, he had to be the class clown at one point and make fun of his own friend. But he regretted it afterward. But what was really wrong is the fact that everyone in the class, like literally everyone, was laughing at Arthur for his glasses. I mean, sure, Francine started it, but everyone else had to join in. And I bet it's because Arthur's the only kid in their class wearing glasses. If another kid in their class was wearing glasses, then the whole class couldn't be making fun of just Arthur. For the first episode of the show, it was pretty good for the most part. But I'm surprised they jumped straight to the bullying trope in episode 1. Also, they never even introduced us to the characters. Don't most shows introduce us to the main characters in the pilot episode? Oh wait, I just remembered. Arthur's Eyes wasn't technically the first Arthur episode ever made. Yeah, I already made a video about that a while ago. Make sure to check it out. Aside from all the flaws of the characters, I noticed a bunch of animation errors in this episode, but it's the first episode, it can't be perfect. Also, I have to give credit to the Arthur Wiki fandom, because all these errors in the episode, whether they're animation or continuity, I mainly found from looking at their page on the Wiki fandom. Yeah, there were a lot of errors. It would literally take me hours to go through all of them, so I'm not going to waste our time on that. All in all, I like this episode, but there were some flaws to it. So, just like in vision test results, I give this episode a 17 out of 20. Catch you on the blind side.